GTM Podcast Buddhist Knowledge Series 38 Blessing 5 Part 2 Accruing Merit. Hello everyone, you are listening to GTM Podcast, and now we will continue from the previous episode that we had learned previously about what is the definition of having done good deeds in one past. And today we will continue of how to make or accrue our merit. There are 10 major ways to accrue merit. As mentioned in the previous episode, merit arises as the result of doing good deeds. Unfortunately, simply knowing that good is meritorious doesn't explain how to go about doing good deeds. Goodness or merit can become meaningless and cringe if they are not defined in the context of practice. For this reason, that Buddhism summarized the different ways of practice of good deeds into a collection of 10 types of practice in 3 categories through which merit can be accrued. For the benefit of such people, the 3 categories of ways to accrue merit are generosity, keeping the precepts of Sila, and meditation. Let's go on one by one. The first one, generosity, includes merit generated through generosity, merit generated through service, merit generated through the transfer of merit to others, and merit generated through rejoicing in the merit of others. 2. Keeping the precept includes merit generated through keeping the precepts. 3. Meditation includes merit generated through meditation, merit generated through humility toward those of higher virtue, merit generated through listening to the Dhamma sermon, merit generated through giving a discourse on the Dhamma, and merit generated through correcting our assumptions about the world. If you expand these 3 categories that mentioned into the 10 types of practice, we would get these following. 1. Generosity. This means merit generated through generosity. Some may wonder why merit can be accrued as the result of giving. Merit arises in the mind as explained earlier. The mind in its natural state takes the form of a clear sphere of diamond brightness. However, when polluted by defilements, these reduce the sparking mind to dullness and weakness, lowering the potential of the mind. If a person does something generous, giving away some part of that wealth which is the source of their anxiety, the mind becomes more at ease. Merit arises, and this merit lights up the mind for a while. The radiance gradually accrues in the mind. The brightness or the merits accumulates in the mind as generous deeds are performed regularly. The merit that arises from generosity is generated by 2 actions of the mind. Firstly, the removal of the defilements of greed from the mind, something which immediately upgrades the quality of the mind and of our character too. Secondly, as a result of the benefit obtained from the gift by the recipient, the more benefit is obtained by the recipient, especially from the gift that is hard-wearing, the more merit will be accrued by the giver. There are many different forms of generosity, such as 1. Giving useful material objects to others. Whether it is food, clothing, shelter, or medicine, will generate merit for the giver. The most basic act of generosity is the gift of something that is beneficial to the recipient. 2. Giving worldly knowledge. Merit is also generated if you give the gift of knowledge or of benefit to the recipient. Knowledge may be vocational skills such as how to set oneself up as a tailor. 3. Giving spiritual knowledge of benefit to the recipient is knowledge of the Dhamma such as the advice contained in this podcast. 4. Forgiving. There is also a way of giving where you don't have to make any physical effort at all. When you are angry at Mr. A, Mr. B, and Mr. C, all of them have the same time or other contribute trouble to your life. Suppose that one day you decide to put an end to all the anger and forgive them for all the upsets they have caused you in the past, and start afresh. In this case, as soon as the thought crosses your mind to forgive them, the merit will arise in your mind. Even though you haven't expended even the slightest physical effort, you have managed to earn yourself merit through giving forgiveness. Even giving others a smile instead of scowling will bring you merit according to the same principle of forgiveness. The second way to accrue merit is humility. This means merit generated through humility towards those of high virtue. You may be surprised that even without expending any physical effort, simply possessing the attitude of humility can cause one to accrue merit. The person who, instead of finding fault with others, is both humble and respectful, has a virtue that will allow him to find the good in each and every person he meets. He will put others' faults to one side. Such humility will lead the owner to accrue merit, because, at the very least, they will always see the world in a positive light, allowing them to remain in a pleasant mood the whole day long. If they are perspective, they will have the wisdom to see the virtues in the hearts of others and instill themselves with those virtues which they see in others, thus accruing even greater merit for themselves. 3. Service. This means merit generated through service. This is the domain of those who immediately rush to assist others who they see doing good deeds. For example, if they find out that their neighbor is preparing a meal to offer to monks, they will prepare all the seasoning needs for the meal and give that to the neighbor making the meal. 4. Transfer of merit. Merit generated through transfer of merits to others. Whenever someone does a good deed, and his mind is full of merit as the result of his goodness, and he transfers some part of his merit to other person or to his deceased relatives, these are all count as ways of generating merit through the transfers of merit. 5. Rejoicing in the merits of others. Merit generated through rejoicing in the merit of others. This sort of merit is accrued by those who, whenever they see that someone else has done a good deed, is pleased for them and rejoice with them in the merit that they have made, even if they are unable to contribute anything more to that person's merit making. By rejoicing with them or congratulating them on doing that good deed, they will earn a part of the merit for themselves too. It is in this connection that you often heard the word sadhu in Buddhist circle or Buddhist community. 6. Keeping the precept, merit generated through keeping or observing the precept or sila. Keeping the precepts ensure that we never take advantage of others through our physical or verbal actions. And at the same time, we bring no harm to ourselves. You might wonder how keeping the precepts can possibly give rise to merit. When we abandon our thoughts of taking advantage of others, in their place arises the radiance of merit that has accrued in the mind. This will have the effect of quenching heartfelt troubles. 7. Meditation. This means merit generated through meditation. Meditation is a way of training the mind to become wiser. There are many different subdivisions of what can be considered as mind training, and these include reading books on Dhamma, chanting, and meditation itself. Meditation has the effect on the mind of causing the arising of radiance and distancing the mind from disturbance by anxiety, remitting its habitual wandering, bringing peace. Whenever the covering of defilements is banished from the mind, especially the defilements of ignorance, which usually imprison the mind in darkness and undermine its true potential, wisdom will arise in the mind as the brightness of merit. 8. Listening to Dhamma sermons. This means merit generated through listening to Dhamma sermons. Listening to Dhamma lectures or sermons, like in our podcast right now, will enhance our wisdom. Before, we might have had only a rudimentary understanding of the real nature of the world. But now, as a result of hearing Dhamma teachings, we know how to tell the difference between good and evil. Such an improvement in the level of our wisdom will result in our accruing merit for ourselves. 9. Giving a discourse on the Dhamma. This means merit generated through giving a discourse on the Dhamma. Teaching the Dhamma by giving a sermon will bring merit to the preachers in the following ways. 1. Preaching will rid the mind of reluctance to teach others. Some people are reluctant to share their wealth with others. Others are reluctant to share their knowledge with others. Giving a sermon instructing others about to lead their lives virtuously will help to uproot the threat of keeping valuable knowledge to oneself. 2. Preaching helps you to revise the different groups of Dhammas. As you preach, you are able to revise the different groups of Dhammas, increasing your mastery of them. As you are recollecting those Dhammas, you will be inspired by them, and this will bring radiance to the mind. Mastery also comes through the necessity to revise from the Dhamma text, sometimes 2 to 3 weeks in advance of actually giving the sermon, in order to obtain a profound understanding of the Dhamma topic in hand before having to teach it to others. 10. Straightening one's will. This means merit generated through straightening out one's will. As the result of listening to a good sermon, like in this podcast, the listener will have the discretion to tell the good from evil, right from wrong. They will no longer doubt that doing good deeds give good result or that doing evil will bring bad results. Before long, the mind is steadfast in pursuit of good deeds and in the avoidance of evil. This process is what we mean by correcting our understanding of the world. Once our understanding is proper, then the deeds of my speech and body will be good and proper too. The determination will arise in the mind that you will pursue good deeds forevermore, no longer being sidetracked into evil or unproductive ways. Thus, if it's hard for you to remember all 10 categories of meritorious deeds, you can summarize them down in 3 major categories. They are generosity, keeping the precepts or observing the precepts, and meditation. And so now, everyone, now you know and learn about how to make merits in 10 ways. Therefore, practice of making merit to yourself every day without skipping any single day will assure yourself happiness to your life and brighten up the quality of your mind for sure. Thus, in the next episode, we will continue our blessing 5 in explaining of how the merit is function. Please stay tuned and continue to support us. If you like the program, subscribe, like, and share. And see you again in our next podcast.